Welcome to the Vulgar Display podcast. Got the boys here. What's up, boys?
What's up,
homeboy?
Got a special guest online right now. We have Matt Putnam from Norma Jean, Orphan Twin, Unwed Sailor, and many others. Matt, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good.
We appreciate you joining us on the Vulgar Display podcast. Reached out to you and asked you to be a part of this, and want to congratulate you. And here, let's see if you can hear this. Arkansas Drummer Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Well done,
sir. Well done for you.
Yeah. That was an unexpected little surprise. It was very nice to be honored amongst some definitely some extremely talented drummers in the area. So yeah, very cool.
Can I hit it again real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's even fade it up. Listen to this.
There it is. There it is.
So do you get like a bust? Did you get like to give like a speech and the golden jacket, all that? How was that?
Hey, I get a golden drum set.
Oh, even better.
Nice.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sure I just get a plaque, but
Hey.
it's still nice.
Yeah, better than the one I got.
We kind of joke about that, but I'm sure that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool. You know, it's like I think there's like an official nominating process, and I guess my name got thrown in, and I made the cut. So yeah, it was definitely out of nowhere. They hit my wife up to help them kind of write the bio for it. She managed to keep it a secret as well. So
Oh, cool.
it was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat, man. And
Yeah.
from Midwest boys here, we're close to the St. Louis area, and you're representing Arkansas. Do you guys still live in Arkansas?
We do. Yeah, we live in Fort Smith, Arkansas, kind of right here on the border of Oklahoma. It's where we pretty much lived our whole lives.
Drove through there not too long ago, probably maybe a couple months ago.
Oh yeah, down here it's the natural state.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nice area.
Yes, sir.
And Jason McVeigh with us here right now. You actually just drove through there, and me and you were talking about like Arkansas is like an underrated state.
It is. I'm wanting to get out there and do a little traveling. There's quite a bit of sightseeing to do there that nobody talks about. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really amazing like hiking and camping, in the Ozarks. I mean, they call it the natural state for a reason. There's just tons of beautiful mountain ranges and just cool opportunities to get out and see nature if you don't mind a little bit of heat and humidity.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good vibe when it comes to writing some good music, huh?
Yeah, for sure. We have plenty of opportunities to kind of find some solitude, get away from the noise, and kind of focus on what we're trying to create. Absolutely.
The decision to stay in the Midwest and in Arkansas instead of, sort of, and I know it's a little bit different now that it's like the stay-at-home model where you can make music from halfway across the world, but that decision to not move to one of the coast or one of the major cities, was that something that you thought through? Was it something that you just came natural, that decision to make?
There definitely was a time, maybe in my mid to late 20s, early 30s, where I was busy enough touring with different bands and just trying to, still trying to make it with music as my full-time gig where I definitely did consider that. But it just, I don't know, it never really made sense to sort of like what I really value, which is being close to family. And also just the way that I feel like I saw the trend just because I grew up, playing around with a 4-track, and then me and, a friend of mine, we had a studio all the way back in 99, a little home studio where we were making music. So we were kind of early adopters of the idea that you can do a lot more with a home studio than people realize and kind of what was acceptable at the time. So yeah, I always kind of knew that I was going to stay around here. I love it here.
Yeah. Your resume is pretty lengthy, right? If we pulled up your Wikipedia page, we'd be here a while.
Yeah, there's quite a few bands on there. Some more notable than others, but I like to stay busy. I like to do lots of different kinds of projects. I feel like my musical output reflects what I like to listen to, which is a lot of different types of, a lot of different genres, a lot of different artists.
You played in Living Sacrifice, right?
I did, yeah. I was on the Hammering Process and the Conceived in Fire albums.
Those are my two favorite Living Sacrifice albums. I absolutely,
Thank you.
I love Hand of the Dead, Perfect, and of course, who doesn't love Symbiotic? If you're a Living Sacrifice fan.
Yeah, man. We had two drummers. I was the percussionist, but it was it was a pretty full on drum setup. Playing with Lance Garvin was just an honor every single night. See, I was a huge fan of the band and a huge fan of him as a drummer before I ever joined the band. So those were several years of great memories, and yeah, I'm still very proud of those albums.
Now you can text him your little plaque of your Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't know why. It makes no sense that I'm in there before him. But I think maybe it's just because I still stay really active and still put out a lot of projects, whereas, he's pretty low key these days. But, I believe I have some voting rights now that I'm actually in the Hall of Fame. So he will be my my number one pick next go around.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Can you give us a little bit of sense of what that time period was like? Early 2000s, hardcore, metal, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a big fan of genre labeling, but like touring and, the whole Solid State scene and the Cornerstone and Furnace Fest and all those festivals and that whole scene. Can you give us a little bit of what that experience was like? Yeah,
for sure. It was, my brother Corey and I, we were just huge fans of so many Solid State bands, and then we had our first band, Esocaris, that we eventually ended up licensing that record to Solid State. But that's how we met Bruce from Living Sacrifice, and that's eventually how Corey also played in Living Sacrifice on and off a few times. So that's kind of how we got introduced to them, and it was a really kind of a cool time because heavy music was getting sort of popular. And we were able to it was my first experience like playing music full time as a full time gig without having to, work a full time job. I would sometimes find odd jobs when I was home, but for the most part, we weren't home very long, so it never made sense. But we played hundreds and hundreds of shows, for the 2 or 3 years that we were supporting those two albums, and it was really kind of the last hurrah for the band because they broke, we broke up after the Conceived in Fire album, and they ended up getting back together several years later, and they put out several more great records. But yeah, man, it's kind of everything that people talk about. It was just you toured as much as you could around the year, and then you had your certain festivals like Cornerstone. At that time, they had 2 festivals. There was one in the main one in Bushnell, Illinois, and they were having another one down in Florida that was a lot of fun. But yeah, man, we have a lot of really fun stories. There's actually a documentary that we put out back then that kind of covered a lot of the touring life from back then. And there's a newer documentary that just came out the year before last that goes into even more depth for that time. So it's quite a bit of it's quite a bit of coverage for everything that we did back then. But it's kind of fun. We broke up right around the time that Living Sacrifice was pretty much metal. Definitely some metalcore leanings, but it was more in sort of the thrash, kind of thrash metal, whereas, metalcore just exploded, right around the time that we broke up. So we kind of missed the bus a little bit. I feel like we were, maybe we could have stuck it out maybe another year. We could have had some more opportunities.
When I think about Living Sacrifice, I just think they are one of those pivotal bands. Do you feel like they get the respect? I feel like people that are in the know, right? That's a name that comes up often. But do you feel like they get the respect that they deserve? And I think about, Reject and the video and how popular that was. And that was huge for the scene at the time and that style of music.
I have like 2, not conflicting, but 2 separate thoughts about it because I have my feelings about the band before I joined where I was just a huge fan. And then my feelings, when I was a part of it. So you kind of lose objectivity when you're in a band. It's hard to know really much of anything.
You're so close to
think.
It.
You're too close to it. Yeah. And since I was in the band, I kind of get a pretty regular stream of messages, people, like reaching out and saying, hey, thanks for the music. So like, to me, it looks like we get a lot of accolades still, but I don't really know how that translates out in the real world. I would certainly hope that my time in the band was actually fairly short considering their entire trajectory. And I think that they deserve all the accolades they could ever get. They pioneered really a whole style. The Reborn record really was a sea change for that music scene, an unexpected one. And some of their fans couldn't get along for the ride, but they picked up so many more new fans that it was fine. But yeah, legendary band.
Yep, both albums you're on, bangers.
Absolute banger. Here we
Thank
got
you.
we got the sound for it.
I love the sound effects. These are next level.
Yeah.
Next
Good
level.
stuff.
We kind of joke about your resume, but you also are a sound engineer. You own your own studio. You produce a lot of different bands, multi-instrumentalist, drummer. I mean, what do you stay the most active with right now?
Definitely production, producing bands, producing sometimes even just artists or even just single songs in all kinds of different genres. So I'm actually wrapping up sort of co-producing the final Project 86 album.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's really cool. It's actually a sort of a double album. So the main album is already done, and then we're working on these two EPs now, these two different EPs. But so that's been a pretty major. That was basically the project I went to. No pun intended. The project
See
that
what
I
you did
went
there.
to after wrapping up the Norma Jean record and then wrapping up the Orphan Twin record. Project record was the next thing. Other than that, I've got a new album by Unwanted Sailor comes out early next year, and we've got another album already in the works. We're kind of putting out one record every year, which we started 3 years ago. Always working on Unwanted Sailor things, and then also just bands that come through my local area. So a local metalcore band called Condemn produced their EP a couple years ago. A band called the Van Goons, kind of an indie rock thing. So yeah, very busy in the studio. Definitely the thing that keeps me the most active.
When you're in the studio, do you prefer to work with the newer, younger local cats that are hungry and that like take in and soak up everything that you provide to them, or do you want like the savvy veterans where you can just sit back and watch them do their thing?
I like a little bit of both. I definitely like working with younger artists who are really talented, just because I learn things from that. Kind of keeps me on my toes, but I also think there's a good trade-off where I can sort of share the things that I've learned and things that I know, and so it's really nice to just kind of keep up with the younger generation and to see just the way they think about music, the way that they write is always really interesting. But yeah, working with people my age is more just like it's definitely more relaxing.
Sure, sure, yeah.
We kind of speak the same language for the most part, share a lot of the same influences.
Like we've said before in interviews with other bands, and like how we do here, you just give the guy to your left a look, and you already know where each other's at. Like, okay, now I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's easily how Corey and I are. We're brothers, so that helps. But yeah, there's like, I can just look at him and know exactly what he's thinking, and same for him, with me. So there's an unspoken language there that you rely on, maybe even more than you realize.
Absolutely.
You were a big part of this new record that's coming out actually the 12th, couple days from now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it comes out Friday.
Wow,
Death Rattle, Sing For Me. Norma Jean's publicist actually sent us an advance copy of the record. And man, I tell you what, it's one of my favorite things I've heard this year.
Oh man, thank you so much. We're really proud of it. I was kind of involved with Norma Jean on and off over the years. Like I played on Redeemer, percussion and just different random things. But I got really involved with All Hell, the last record we did.
Great album.
banger.
Banger.
Thank you. Yeah, we did all the writing for that, and then went into the studio. Matt Marquez actually plays drums on the records because he's just an amazing drummer, and he knows a lot of tricks that these old legs can't do anymore. But or maybe could never do.
You got that gold jacket, bud. I keep bringing it up, but you got that to hang over him. That to hang over him all the time.
I'd wear that thing everywhere.
Everywhere.
I'd wear it to bed.
Yeah, every night. I'd be like, you're playing right now, but you see this jacket? Hall of Fame, motherfucker.
Walk into the bedroom.
Oh, man.
The wife's in there waiting on you. You got the jacket on. Nothing else.
No, Dad's home. Dad's home, baby. Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Dad's home.
Dad's home.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, go ahead, buddy.
No, it's fine. That would be actually sounds like something I would do. So
Perfect.
But so we did the All Hell record, and it went really well. And right when they were gearing up to do the heavy touring for that, of course we went into pandemic, kind of a lockdown, and so we were kind of sitting on our hands, and so we were just like, let's just start writing the next record.
Yeah.
So that's what we did, and then along the way, we had so many songs that we were working with and kind of deciding which ones were going to go on to like the next phase and which ones weren't. And that's also kind of where the Orphan Twin record was born. Like Corey and I had a few songs that we just cooler with sort of a different approach. And so that's when we decided to kind of veer off and do the Orphan Twin record as well. So yeah, we were making 2 records at the same time. But yeah, man, we spent a whole lot of time making the new Norma Jean record. We're really, really super proud of it. Started the record out in Florida for the live tracking, and then came back here to my studio for things like vocals, overdubs, and just like soundscape, sound design stuff, all the little extra little perks and additive things. Yeah, man, we're super excited. It's kind of crazy that we're already just 48 hours away from release day. It's pretty surreal.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only a absolute banger of an album. I mean, on the extreme music side of it, but it's also really well written.
Agreed.
The way the songs flow into each other and the content of the lyrics and everything as a whole. I mean, it's a great album.
Thank you, man. I mean, it means a lot. That's something else that's weird is just getting compliments about it because we're so close to it, and we've been hearing it for so long. And without anybody else hearing it. So now knowing that people have heard the whole thing already is pretty wild. For any band, if they don't tell you that like release day is their favorite day, then, you probably haven't asked the right question yet, because it really is like there's this good week to 2 week long period where you just get to sit back and kind of like reap the rewards of all this hard work, just watching fans enjoy it. And of course, some fans don't. And you take that in stride as well, because it doesn't really matter, because we're just going to turn around and make another one, and maybe they'll like that one.
Hell yeah. We get excited for that day, too, when we see that date.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. It's the best. It's like the reason you do it, man. It's just such a great feeling. And release day is my favorite day.
Yeah. And I love it ever since I switched it to a Friday. I remember when it was on Tuesdays.
Always used to be Tuesday. I'd be at Best Buy. It never made sense
to me, but now, it's a way to start the weekend off right.
Agree. You're totally right.
I used to be sitting at Best Buy at 9:01. Cha-ching. Need that album, homie. Yeah.
I miss those days driving to the city and
drive up to the city.
I did the same thing. I remember standing in line for records at Hastings.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, waiting for stuff to come out. And it was on Tuesdays. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it was always Tuesdays. Yep. And I'd have buddies that work downtown in the city. I'd be like, hey, you hitting a Best Buy on your way through?
Yeah.
I'll shoot you some cash when you get back in town. Yeah.
So is it being released on all formats? Are we doing vinyl with this, cassettes, CDs? What all is it coming out on?
Yeah, definitely vinyl. CD. We had the CDs already, so they've got the CDs. Vinyl will be a little bit longer, but not a whole lot longer. I actually don't know about cassette tape. It's a good question.
A lot of people seem to be doing it.
That's coming around. Yeah, it's bopping back around.
Yeah, my band Elmer Sailor, we always do tape, but I don't really know if Solid State does that or not. So it could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all formats for the most part. All the streaming sites, of course. Yeah, drops everywhere Friday.
We talked to a lot of different musicians in a lot of different interviews, and they always sort of talk about once it's actually released, it's no longer yours. It sort of becomes everybody else's. Is that the feeling that you have as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's really true, like in a very literal way, because that period between you've kind of written the album and you're waiting for it to be released, kind of go through a period where you listen and then you're just kind of, I don't want to say you're sick of it, but you're so close to it and you've lost all that objectivity on it. And so you kind of give it a rest. And then maybe you'll pick it up, you start picking it up and listening again, especially when you start making videos and doing promotional stuff. You automatically just start hearing it differently especially when you're like making a video and a video drops and you see the reaction. You hear the song differently because you're hearing it through other people's ears, kind of inadvertently. And so that's what happens when it gets released. Like, it really isn't yours anymore because, we have our collective relationship with the album because we made it. And now that, once it's out, it's like it's filtered through all these people who are talking about it, sharing with you about it. We all get a ton of messages whenever an album drops, people just sharing their thoughts about it. And you internalize those things, and all of a sudden you're sharing this thing. So it's not really even a cliche. Like it's quite literally true that it doesn't belong to you anymore, and you share it with anybody else who enjoys it.
Is there a band that stands out that you really love to tour with? Maybe one of your favorite ones?
Yes, gosh, so many.
Got one that stands out?
Yeah.
I mean, so Sunny Day Real Estate is doing a reunion tour right now. I would love to do anything with them. There's this great band out of Minneapolis called Night Moves that I really love. I've been trying to catch them when they get near this area. Any kind of country psychedelia stuff I just tend to love, and that's what they do really well. So
Arkansas, baby.
That's what I was going to say. That's that Midwest swang.
A lot of great bands around here doing that for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of revitalization with country music, and I think there's a little bit of hope left. I know it's not a lot, but there's a little bit of hope left.
Yeah.
It's looked bleak for the last few years.
Yeah, there's a lot of great, really super great kind of country artists doing something new and different. Taking the kind of classic country sound and bringing something new to it. Sort of I wouldn't call it like alt country. It's kind of beyond that. We've had Wilco around forever, and they're the kings of that. But it's kind of like a new direction. Even it really is kind of like a psychedelic country thing happening that I'm really loving. So, I hope to see more of that and maybe do some more of that.
We are excited for Death Rattle, Sing For Me, out in a couple days, August 12th. You're going to go get that everywhere, even 8 tracks, I think. We ought to bring those back.
Yeah.
We ought to.
Yeah, let's get that drink on.
You're going to get the vinyl CD. You're going to stream it on all those platforms. And we're actually going to be seeing Norma Jean in St. Louis at Red Flag on August 27th. So, and then you want to tell us about Orphan Twin? I mean, talk about rocking.
Yeah. It's this Corey and I 2-piece. Corey and I started playing music together when we were 12, 13. I got my first drum set. He got his first guitar, and we were learning to play Slayer and Alice in Chains songs in our parents' basement. And so we started our music career together. We had some local bands that kind of did okay, and then we had Esocaris, which was our first kind of like successful band that got a lot more opportunities. And then of course he went on to Norma Jean. I went on to Living Sacrifice and several other bands, and it's been almost 2 decades later, and we kind of came back together to make another record together, just the two of us, and it was super, super fun. I'm really proud of it. We are really excited for what's next. Solid State wants to continue working with us and kind of investing in what we've been doing, so that's exciting. So we're already making plans for the next record. Even have a few little ideas puttering around already, so we like to stay busy. But I'm really proud of it. It's just it's an EP, 6 songs, kind of runs all over the place in terms of style. I will say the last song on the record, Hominy, which is kind of a sort of a psychedelic country thing, it's the first song. So all my brothers play instruments. My youngest brother Adam plays piano and guitar and everything else, and then our oldest brother Tristan plays the French horn. And so we're all on that song together. It's the first time we've ever done that. We're all 4 of the brothers are on a song together. So
wow,
very cool.
It's really cool.
It's really
got that Chevelle
really
feel to it.
I got all feely inside. Like, talk about a full circle moment. You've had this storied career, you and your brother, to bring it all back to you guys. Wow, really neat.
Super cool.
Yeah, super. I'm very proud of that song.
Well, we appreciate you joining us today. Do you want to give out your socials and where everybody can find everything that you're involved in? If that's a
So I'm on so obviously just the bands, Orphan Twin, Norma Jean, Unwed Sailor, you can look all those up. I also play in a kind of a folk classic country band called State House Electric that you can look up. And then other than that, I don't really have a page for my studio or anything, but the name of my studio is Electric Nebraska, and I just use that as my Instagram name as well. So if you just go look up Electric Nebraska on Instagram, you can see things that I post about the projects I'm working with. I also just post random drum videos sometimes. Easy way to keep up with what I'm doing.
We appreciate your time today, Matt.
Yeah, appreciate you guys, man.
Yes,
very, very
thank you
much
for your time.
What variable.